When your mother's nickname is Crashe, you might expect a turbulent childhood. As she told us too many times to count, "I'm not like the other mothers." My mother was abandoned as a child, first by her father, who drank and left, and then by her mother, who drank and died. She told us stories of coming home from school to discover that her mother had moved without telling her, of food stamps and street fights, of sleeping among the wooden wise men in the town manger on Christmas Eve. When we were toddlers, Crashe decided my brother and I needed to be weaned off bottles. She filled our bottles with red Kool-Aid, opened the tops, and left them on our stoop in the summer sun. My brother Sean and I happened upon them and reviled at the legions of ants overtaking the clear plastic. "What should we do with these disgusting bottles?" my mother asked. "Throw them away, throw them all away." The ants had gotten in the bottles and they were disgusting. We'd throw them out. Sorry. Okay. You had to explain it, it didn't work. We grew up in a ski town in the 70s. There were long hairs and bell bottoms drifting through, dropping by our house, having coffee, or staying for 9 months in our spare bedroom. My mother loved to take in strays. They were usually named Danny. I cannot remember a time when we didn't have some non-relative staying in our home. College dropouts, a divorced dad with a son in tow, friends of so-and-so. One year, she brought home someone she met in Kmart on Christmas Eve. She didn't want him to end up in the town manger. As capricious as she may have seemed, our mother invented and enforced her own unique parenting code. While other kids enjoyed the free-range play of the era, she monitored our bike rides like Frank Serpico. While the rest of the Little League team rode down Main Street in the back of the pickup truck to celebrate winning the county championships, we wore seatbelts snug in the cab. She was always barging into sleepovers and middle school parties, ever vigilant, looking to bust us, asking, "What's that buzzing in here?" When our father died, my mother moved back to Boston. She went to community college, and befitting her snooping ways, she became a private investigator. Swear to God. After I graduated from college, we worked near each other in downtown Boston, and she mandated that I meet her for lunch once a week. She told me about duping unsuspecting housewives on stakeouts in Southie, and how she busted a cop on full disability crossing the finish line of the Cape Cod Marathon. She usually brought a secondhand Red Sox t-shirt for our young son, Tommy, from the Poor Kids Bucket, her personal lost and found, curated from only the finest thrift stores of northern New England. Mom was in a coma when I flew to Boston 2 summers ago on zero notice. My brother was holding her quiet gray hand, and she looked up at me without smiling. A wide plastic tube was plunged into her throat, and for 9 days, she didn't tell us to get her Spam or to leave a room cleaner than we found it. No commands, no comments at all. Months later, she was recovering slowly, and my brother and I went up to her condo in New Hampshire to be with her. After 60 days in an intensive rehab facility, she still couldn't drive, her memory and speech were murky, and she repeated herself much more than usual. We spent a few days sitting with her, being still and unnaturally quiet, but together as a family for the first time in years. One afternoon, Sean and I went to blow off steam, to play tennis on the tired, warped condo tennis court with a stooped, sad basketball net at one end. We drifted between tentative shots, rusty and listless, with only enough energy to make fun of each other's unforced errors. Sean saw her first. Emerging from the door of the condo, slow as a cloud, Crashe was padding over the dirt driveway toward our court. She began waving at us with, "What was that?" "It's a tennis racket." She had dug up her old Prince Pro with a comically wide racket face, the same racket she used to barge into our matches when our childhood bickering was too much, just to show us she was ambidextrous, but really, more likely, just to shut us up. She was moving toward us, back into focus. We could see her outlandish smile under her trademark oversized thrift store sunglasses. She was wearing only what can be described as a note-perfect parody of a 70s tennis outfit, with pristine white socks hiked up to her knees. She wore immaculate tennis whites with a headband and wristband, like a backcountry Bjorn Borg. She got to the court, and we were smiling, somehow speechless.
Shut up, you babies. Let me play.